There we go. Now I'm going to share.
Okay.
Yes, because this is going to be very good. Everybody's going to want to be able to rewatch this, even the people who were not on. Okay, so before we jump into some announcements and then our content for tonight, I just wanted to remind you that during this time, I will be setting up the breakout rooms. And so I'll need you to send me a message through the chat if you are not going to be staying on at the end, because I'm making an assumption Brooke and Kira I know have to get off because of a per session. But so I will go ahead and connect each person, you know, I'll partner you up. Okay. All right. So, okay. Just wanted to remind you that we are finishing up our group coaching workshops. And I believe that all of you either have done it, all of you, those who've on here have done it, or actually, Carolyn, you weren't able to. And so you could go to that one in Belleville, Friday, April 1st. So we have 3 left this Thursday, this Saturday, and then next Friday. And then that's it for group coaching workshops for this year. Although as I said, we'll be doing ongoing coaching through other kinds of short workshops and just being in your sessions. But I wanted to remind you to put on your calendar Thursday, April 28th, 6:30 to 8:30 is our next filling station. And we're going to have a hybrid. Nicole is getting this all together with the platform to where we can be in person at the preserve while also broadcasting, so we can have everybody who's not in Houston, they can't make it, will be able to participate also. So that's going to be very exciting. It's kind of the wave of the future. Nicole, did you want to say anything about that?
Oh no, I just put a little celebration confetti on there because that's super exciting, but no, you take it away.
Okay. So I also wanted to let you know that we have a basic seminar, you know, which is the first step in our training. Some people come to basic and then they don't go further with T group. But basic is a great tool. It's a 2-hour seminar. It's very good for somebody who doesn't really understand about TPM and you have friends that you want to introduce to this. It's a really good overview, and they get to see a role play simulation. They hear about a couple of our principles, the heart belief, intellectual belief, and we feel what we believe. Hear about Serenity Retreat. And so I just advise you, anytime we announce these, please send out information on social media, or whenever we send it out, you can just copy and send it on. So the next one is this coming Monday on Zoom. Brooke and I will be doing this one.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to add somebody to the list, but does it have a cost?
It is $25.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Talk to me later about that, Brooke. Okay. All right. I also want to talk about Truth Camp. I told you it was coming. It's getting closer. Okay. We now realize that a lot of you are interested in this. So far, I've had 12 people to email me saying, yes, I'm interested. And so we're going to go ahead and have 2 different truth camps. There'll be 3 days, one of the weeks in June, 3 days, one of the weeks in July. We're getting close to picking those dates. I'm waiting on just a couple of things. And so that will be published. I'll get that out to you by the end of March. There will be a cost for that, but it's going to be fun and very valuable for anybody who comes. Any questions?
What is the cost? Do you know the cost there?
That will be published whenever we publish the dates. Okay. We'll have the whole package deal. we will, you know, you have to cover all of the room and board and stuff. Any questions about that? Okay, I don't think that I don't know if Cece has come on or not. You know what? I'm going to stop sharing and see if she has come on, because she was going to do this next part for us. She's not here. So what we'll do is we're going to move on to our content, okay, talking about the suicide ideation. And then before we go into our breakout rooms, Cece has something that she's going to share, okay? So I'm going to share again.
Angela's cooking dinner for us again.
Brock,
Yeah.
can I make you co-host, and that way you could see if CC or anybody else comes in and you could let them in?
I will.
Thank you.
No, there's a little window come up.
There we go. Okay. Yeah. My content here. All right, we're talking about suicide ideation tonight. All right, somebody, maybe you could mute right now. Somebody, okay, there we go. So I don't know if any of you have, had experience where somebody has talked about things like, I would rather just not be alive. Maybe you've heard somebody say, I just wish somebody would kill me. If everybody can mute themselves right now, that would be helpful. Thank you. There's a little bit of feedback or some noise. Thank you.
Barbara, this
Yes?
is Nicole. Can you make me co-host too so I can help with that?
Okay. Actually, as I didn't realize I would be able to see it. I didn't know if you were staying on the whole time, Nicole.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
There we go. Okay. Right. Or you might have heard somebody say, okay, now that I've done all that, there we go. Why doesn't God just take me now? Okay. So what do you do? What do you do when you hear things like that? Okay. So this is just, this is part of their story, right? I mean, it may come out in the memory box. It might come out in the emotion box. I mean, it's going to come into the room. And so it's not anything for us to freak out about. We just stay calm and we just do the process. Okay. That it's no different than any other part of their story during the TPM session. Okay. So, but after the session is over, that's when we need to take a little bit of different action. Okay. The first step, first of all, you're just going to check in with them. If they have said things like that, then you're going to check in to see how they're feeling right now. At the very end, they may be in a very peaceful place and you are not feeling concerned, but sometimes it still could be something going on and they're like, yeah, I am still thinking about that. Okay. So if they're still feeling the same way, then we have a protocol in place at Serenity. And I want to walk you through that. This actually is in your ministry handbook. You're going to receive that in digital format next Wednesday. And there will be hard copies of the revised ministry handbook at the filling station. Okay. So, and then also whenever I send out the replay of this, I will send you a document that has just one page of the suicide ideation protocol on it. So that way you can put it like wherever you keep your map, you can just keep it right there with it. So you'll always have it available. And there also are going to be 3 questions that we're going to ask you to memorize. So the purpose behind seeing how they feel to see if they're in the same place or if things have shifted for them is to determine if they are passive or if they're in an active suicidal ideation place. Okay. Now, so if you determine that it is active, then there's a series of questions that you're going to ask. So the first question is, it sounds like you are considering suicide. And then the second question, you will have these memorized and you just ask these one after the other. So are you considering that right now? And they'll give you a response. If they say yes, then your next question is, do you have a plan as to how you would take your life? And also if they say yes, this just means it is indeed an active suicidal ideation. And so we have some action steps to follow. Now, as prayer ministers, we're not putting this burden on you. There are staff members and people in authority for Serenity Retreat that are going to take these steps, but you need to know what these steps are, okay? All right, so first of all, you are going to notify this Serenity Retreat person who's in authority. So like if you are in person with somebody, either at Belleville or out in Houston at the preserve, then you would just leave one of the prayer ministers in the room and you would walk out and go find a staff member if you're at the preserve. Okay, if you are in Belleville, then you know, Carrie always gives us her phone number. So you can either step out and call her. Okay, and these are the people who are going to like step in and start the process, okay, while you are still with the prayer minister. So if you are on Zoom, whoever is assigned to be the host is the one who's going to take the action. Those people that are the host, there are several people on staff, and there are a few of our core team members who act as hosts. And so we're going to have a meeting for us to walk through this, so we all feel equipped. Okay. Now, when the authority, the person in authority is brought into the picture, the first step they're going to do is they're going to look up the mentee's emergency contact and reach out to them. If they cannot reach them, the next step is they will notify the police. Okay. And then the next step is, and this actually can happen while the authority is doing the contact, then you actually can do this in the room. Out in Belleville and at the preserve, along with the handouts that we give them, you know, the session 1, 2, 3, anger, truth-based, doing TPM on yourself, all of that. Then you also can, I'm sorry, I just saw somebody come in. Those are available in the room. So you will just pull that out, and it's a document I'm going to show you in a minute that you are going to have them complete and sign while you are there. Okay. I just want to remind you that if you're in this situation, then the mentee would never be left alone, okay, on the premises for any circumstance, okay, because there's always two of you, always one person would stay with them, okay, until the emergency person comes to get them. Okay, so if the answer is no, they do not have a plan in place, okay, that's excellent. That is excellent. Next step is you do the same thing. You just have them complete this anti-suicide agreement form, which I'm going to show you, and you just stay with them and walk through it with them. It's really just a contract, and Nicole created this contract, and I can let her speak to this in just a second if she wants to add anything to it. And once that's completed, then we will make sure that that is kept in the file in our database, our church community builder. So that's, before we go into a testimony, that was really the all that I wanted to share with you, but I also want you to know that you're going to have it in writing. I also want to say that this is nothing for us to freak out about. It's nothing. I just want us to be aware of this. I want you to be confident that there is a protocol in place. I've had people ask me about this, and we have had this in writing, but it's never like been brought to you and just presented like these are the steps that you take. Okay. And I think that Kathy Eason said that she's only had to do it one time in the whole time that she was the executive director. Cece, do you have anything that you want to add to that? Do you recall?
I was going to say the same thing, that rest assured, first of all, I think this is so rare. Like you said, I think this has been an active suicidal ideation maybe one time for Kathy. It rarely comes up, but I'm very thankful we have a policy in place that we want to share with you just so you feel prepared. Also, the best news about TPM is that many times if someone has just had this thought process as part of their life, it may not be active, but when the Lord works in their session, many times the thought of committing suicide is gone. And so they are in the right place to be ushered into the Lord's presence. And I think many, many times people do just say, they might answer one of those questions that Barbara put up, that they have thought about this, but it's not active. And by the time they leave, there's such a peace after hearing the word that this is not even a consideration anymore. We have many testimonies about people whose suicides have been averted, as you all know. So
She didn't shoot herself.
want to make sure that you all know that and know we are here to support you. And we have a protocol in place, and we are confident that the Lord will lead us and direct us and protect each of us in these mentees as well.
Are there any questions? You can unmute. Brooke, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, please. Brooke.
Myself. I'm a little worried about how that would work out on Zoom. And
Oh, yes, I didn't finish that. Go ahead and ask your question and I'll
well,
explain.
I've been in a situation where somebody threw the computer and left the room, and I didn't know what to do. It turned out they had an emergency bathroom situation because they were so upset, but I didn't know that that's what was happening, and I was really scared. So I don't know how that would work out on Zoom. I didn't have a phone number or anything. So.
Well, that's a really good question. So we always have an emergency contact on file. Okay. So if this is during office hours, you always can contact the office and see if if that concerned, even if it's not a suicide thing. You could contact the office, and Abigail or someone could contact their emergency contact just for somebody to check on them. But as far as the protocol, like on Zoom, we will pull up, I forgot to share the document with you. We will pull up the document and read through it with them. We will record. I will work through this with all of the hosts. We'll record it, read through the document with them, see if they agree to it. Okay. We're running a little short on time because I want Carol to be able to give her testimony. So I think we're just going to wait and let's send that document to you with this replay. And I would like for you to read over it so you will know what this document is available. Okay. Any other questions or comments about this? Okay, well, Cece is on right now. And so I'm going to go back and share my screen, and we're going to jump over and do our mission vision statements. Okay, because we now have them in place. And then Carol is going to share a testimony, and I'll introduce her in just a second. Okay, let me go back up. Okay, so, whoops. I was there and then I wasn't. There we go. Okay, so you know that we now have this new mission statement, equipping all generations in a prayer process that allows for a transformational encounter with God. But we now have a new vision statement, and I asked Cece to share about it, okay? So I'm going to unveil it. Cece, I'll let you go ahead and have the honor.
A world where everyone is transformed by the healing and redeeming power of Jesus. So I'm glad it's up on the screen. You all can look at it and process it. This was the result of a lot of brainstorming, talking out loud, things on paper at our staff retreat, a lot of prayer. It's just a really exciting thing to see it all come together. So we want it to be big, very, very big, bigger than what we can do, because if we can do this, God's not in it. So we want to reach the world, and now we are a global ministry, which is incredible. We want to be able to touch everyone, every generation, every race, every socioeconomic status, every person in wherever they are in the world. So that's literally everyone. And we know that TPM ushers people into the presence of Jesus because he's the one who heals and redeems. TPM does not heal and redeem, but Jesus heals and redeems. And part of the bigger picture that we talked about in staff meeting today was each of us is called to Serenity Retreat to be a prayer minister, which is a very high and holy calling. But in addition to that, we all are encountering people in our lives, but also even through Serenity Retreat, who may never even get a transformation prayer session. But we're still involved in kingdom work to be helping people be transformed by the healing and redeeming power of Jesus. If we just even listen and love the people that we encounter, whether or not they ever have a session, we are achieving our vision for Serenity Retreat. And so we just love that it is layered, that it is encompassing, yet large at the same time. And very, very excited to share it with you. When Carrie presented this to the staff last week, we all just sat just taking it in for a minute. There were tears even because we've just worked so hard in trying to get to this place where there was unity in the spirit about what the vision, what is God's vision for this ministry. And then we presented it to the board yesterday and got a unanimous approval of it. And so we are excited to share it with you all, our prayer ministers. I don't know if I missed anything, Barbara.
No, that was wonderful. Are there any comments or questions about that? Feel free to unmute yourself. We'd love to hear from you. Well, whenever I read it the first time, I couldn't even respond yet. I had to like sit with it, you know, and but as I have sat with it, it does. I'm one of those people that brings tears to my eyes because it's way bigger. It's way bigger than me or Serenity. I mean, it's a God-sized. That's what we wanted. We wanted a God-sized vision.
Yeah. Thank you, Barbara.
Mm-hmm. So I invited Carol Schwartz. She's one of our she's actually one of our interns. She goes to my church. We have been friends for a few years. We're very good friends. And I have come to know her in a way that I never would have known her before because of us doing TPM together for over a year. We pray very regularly, like once a week, you know, or a couple times a month. And she actually is a person who had a lot of suicide ideation in her young life, her young adult life, and she actually had suicide attempts. And I'm getting to see the restoration, you know, and it's just been a privilege to walk through this with her. And whenever she's in a session and she is having to go back and she goes back, associates back to those dark, dark places, it's a tough place as a friend and mentor to witness this. But I think you all probably have been in situations in ministry sessions where it really tugged at your heart, you know. But I want Carol to share honestly, you know, her story is, I don't think she's telling her whole testimony. I asked her just to kind of tell about that period and then now what it's like for her kind of walking through a TPM process, like looking back at all that and allowing the Lord to minister to her there. So Carol, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Barbara. It's a privilege to share and to know that it's just so wonderful to have a church community and a community to like know that I'm in a safe place to share those deeper things.
Carol, your video's off.
My video?
Yeah, it's on now. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I just want to remind people, you know, I don't know, this I'm just so happy about this process. But going back to a little bit about my past. So yes, in my younger years, there was a lot of just a lot of lies, a lot of emotion, a lot of pain, a lot of not knowing how to deal with anything. So years of counseling, years of medication, years of, a lot of things, trying things. I always wanted freedom. And I got freedom in a lot of areas, and I received Jesus in my heart. But I'm telling you this, nothing compares to the transformation of getting specific lies revealed and having Jesus speak truth to your heart. Like that is, I'm just, one of my favorite scriptures is John 8:32, where it says, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. That is just a beautiful thing. So I just kind of wanted to share a little bit too about the fact that the last year and a half with doing the TPM, a lot of years I've covered up a lot of this stuff. So when I was able to get in touch with a lot of it, I started to feel as if I wanted to die again. So I'm just kind of like, not to make people scared, but I think it's just important for people to understand that when we uncover things that have been covered for so long, it could feel very overwhelming. And I just say that to say that just be a listener and hear what people are saying and how they're saying it, and be concerned for how they're processing things. And also one other thing is try not to personally, God told me it would take me a long time to go through this with him, and just be patient, and don't try to force somebody to get freedom. It's God's process. It's God's work in the person. And it just takes time sometimes to really look at deep, painful things. But I don't know, I'm just so grateful for this and for the truth and those lies being revealed. I remember at one point when I was in an institution for a few weeks, being isolated and remembering, like, I know there's a God, but I also know that there's evil, even understanding truth, and that there is lies that we believe. So years later, looking at all that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was just a lie. So it's like, I don't know, I just want y'all to know that the process works. This process works, and you really don't have to change anything up for people that are in that place of darkness. But I don't know what else to say, but I'm just grateful.
I would like to just open it up. And if anybody has, first of all, maybe you have a short story that you would like to share about us, I don't know, something in related to this in a TPM session. Maybe you have questions for Carol, just comments, any questions? You feel free to unmute yourself. Angela, do you have something to say?
I was just going to say thank you so much for sharing, Carol, and sharing with us. It is a vulnerable place, and to trust us with that, and just want to honor that in you, and so excited about what God has been doing and the hope that this can really provide other people who are in similar places.
Before we go on and ask any more questions, I need to find out, Mark and Sue, are you guys staying on and having prayer tonight? Okay, just Sue. Okay, so Nicole will just be Sue. You don't need to worry about Mark. And Bill and Hazel, are y'all both staying on?
No, not tonight.
Okay, all right. So you can remove Bill and Hazel. Okay, so these are the people that she's going to be putting in breakout rooms. It's Carol, Dara, Michael, Carolyn, Becky, Ivis, Cece, Jill, Sue, and Patty. That's who I think it is. Did I miss anybody? All right, Nicole, did you get that? Clear as mud. Okay, now we can continue our conversation. Any other comments or questions or thoughts? I mean, just think.
I just wanted to say thank you too, Carol. Thanks for sharing that and for, yeah, it's just such a witness, and I really appreciate your vulnerability.
You know, I was in a session recently where this did come up. And so that's why it got moved up to the forefront, because it was like, oh, wow, this person was not in an active suicide ideation, but they had suicide thoughts, you know, as late as like 6 months ago. So it just made me think, wow, we need to talk about this now, you know.
Yeah. I just wanted to thank Carol. Really, we've been together in T group and all, and this just makes me appreciate you even more, Carol. Really have enjoyed being with you and getting to know you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Okay. Y'all gonna have to do a little bit of talking, because I've got to send the names to Nicole, okay?
Photos out there.
Who can do a tap dance out there? Does anybody have like a little testimony you want to share about how you've recognized how doing TPM, and then you were in a situation where you were expecting those very familiar lies to jump out and they weren't there? I mean, I think that's so encouraging whenever we hear people's stories. No.
Barbara, I actually
ahead.
have a question then for Carol, and share as much as you wish, Carol, please. I just wonder if you felt like you were healed all at once in just a moment, or if it was a series of TPM sessions, if it was a gradual thing.
Yeah, good question, Dara. I kind of wanted to share that too. Because God has been telling me, like, in the last probably 5 sessions, it's going to take you time to even feel safe with me, to feel safe with God. And he tells me that, you know, just walk with me through those things. So it's not, as you can tell, I still get emotional, because it's just hard to and I mean, I say it's not hard to, like, I'm in a good place now, but I think sometimes, like, I think we want just freedom, you know, we want to be free. And I think we forget that it's years and years of lies, you know, so time to really look at all that. I know that for a while it was layers and layers and layers of anger that kept it all like in a big box. So once anger kind of like was let go, you know, I didn't feel as much anger. It was like, oh wow, now I'm feeling like fear and like really hard things. And then that's when like things like, I don't know if I can deal with this. So yeah, it's been a process and it's taken time.
And it begs what you just responded. It begs the question: do we need to make sure that we get more sessions if suicide ideation comes up? We need to be there and sort of
Right, we encourage that. Yes.
Support that, yeah. Support the continuity with the same mentors.
Carol, did you share tonight, because I was busy writing everybody's name down, so I don't know if I caught this about the bell out at Serenity. that conversation you and I had?
Yeah, I know that there was a time when I just was so resistant, like when I went to Serenity, to ringing the bell there, because I was still resistant and I still didn't understand how much Jesus loved me. And I knew I wanted to, but I just didn't feel like I really could. And I think sometimes I would do it out of like, I know I should do this because that's what we should do. We want freedom. You know, we want people to be free, but I think, I think we have to be careful that, it's in God's timing that we do things, and, I don't know. One of the biggest things, Barbara, that I'm thankful for with you when you sent me off to Serenity is you prayed like, not just for comfort for me, like you prayed for like the real stuff to be revealed. A lot of times we want people to be comforted and people to have peace, but in order to get there, you have to experience pain and hard things sometimes. So I'm thankful that sometimes we pray hard prayers with people and not just prayers of like, in the end, we want peace and we want restoration and truth, but sometimes we have to go through some hard things to get there. And the joy of it all is that each time God speaks and says, "You're safe with me," or something so powerful that nothing could have changed that but his transformational power. So it's a beautiful process and it works.
Barbara, I
Yes,
have
sir.
a testimony if you have time for it, a TPM
Go
testimony.
ahead. Go ahead.
About 4 years ago, we had a big family reunion and all my children were coming. And one of my daughters had just had a baby and she was needing special stuff and we were trying to make it work for her. And when she got there, she wasn't happy with anything that was set up. And she made that very clear. And I really felt like, oh my gosh, all this work that we've done for this fun family reunion and wow, it's just kind of going down the tubes. And she was directing a lot of that at me. And, of course, immediately I was triggered, I was angry, I was frustrated. Fortunately, I had my TPM mentor with me that I happened to be married to. And we walked away from the whole deal, found a place to sit down, and he prayed with me. And the Lord said, and this is, I'm just going to use my daughter's name, Ellie. Ellie is not your enemy. The two of you have a common enemy. Pray for her. And that changed everything in the way that I responded to not just family members who were coming at me or criticizing or being angry or whatever. It was anyone that I had issues with. He has helped me, and that re-echoes. They are not your enemy. They are not your enemy. The two of you have a common enemy. And it's that has made a huge difference. And that was 4 years ago. And it's really, really made a big difference to this day.
That's so cool. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. I actually was going to share that you might not can tell, but I have stitches in my face. And this weekend I was at the lake with the family and there were these teenagers who asked if anybody wanted to play tennis. I said, sure, I'll play. So I haven't played in decades, but I'm serving and I'm like, wow, I still got it. And I'm lobbing and I go for a ball, face plant on the surface. I stand up and there's blood everywhere. I end up having to go to the ER, get stitches on the outside, stitches on the inside. But the reason why I'm saying this is not one time did any of the ticker tape go through my head that I'm stupid. There's something wrong with me. I'm defective. I mean, those are some of my lives that plagued me my whole life. And this was a time that they should have come out and not one of them came out. And I seriously had the joy of the Lord. Like I was cutting jokes. I couldn't even believe it. So that is a testimony. also. So, so I think that Nicole might have us, Nicole, do you have it all squared away? Thank you for doing this. It's a little bit overwhelming because so many people are here. Yay.
Yay. I think so. I think I'll give it a go. I'll open the rooms, and if I need to rearrange, and I can do that.
Okay, so now Eric will, he said he can join in at 5 to pray. So is he in with 2 other people or? he's with some-
No, he is a lone ranger for now.
I can do it. Put Eric, can you add me to Eric?
Yeah, I just want to get this, once I open all these rooms, and I can add whoever's.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for coming on and for your contribution.
So
Thank you,
good.
Carol, for your
Thank you,
testimony.
Y'all.
And it's just so
Cece,
good
thank
seeing
you.
everybody. Lord, I just pray for every one of these sessions that are fixing to happen, that you would just have your way, Lord, persuade hearts. And we just wait with expectancy for what you're going to do. In Jesus' name, amen. So
Yeah.
go get truth.